I think I finally figure out what the problem is in our country. The problem is that a group of people just doesn't want change. It doesn't change its perception, the treatment of others. Does not want to understand the correlation that exists between humanity and economics and climate control and a world order for survival for each of us. We have people more interested in destruction of most of us. They're forgetting that there are in fact the least of us these days. And so, this next chapter, I think that I've come further enough in my investigations to have enough to offer to the public for our better interests, and that we need laws and bills and legislature centers to understand we exist. We're not going anywhere. Our vulnerabilities are very real. They are not to be denigrated. They are not to be demeaned and defiled. They are not to be ignored and ridiculed. They are not to be oppressed, unconsidered, and they are not to be another option for an abuser to use to abuse. One that is already weak, one that is already hurt and broken and damaged. I have to ask all of America, and I know many of you will not understand and don't understand the capacity of what is in fact taking place in our world right now. But what is taking place in our world is a group of people, a very small group of people that are trying to manipulate the bigger group that they are part of into influencing our world into a backwards motion. When progress has been made, you don't go back. The only thing to do when you make progressive stance is to go forward, to move forward, not to be oppressed, not by judges, not by senators, not by Congress, not by executives or people in positions of authority that are abusing their positions, and they are acting as if they are unaware, arrogantly, stubbornly, narcissistically, sociopathically, unaware of exactly what their behaviors are, exactly the harms that they are not causing to themselves, but to others that want nothing to do with them, that do not want to be subjected to the harms, the hurt, the ambush. It is time for us to live. It is time for us to be cured. It is time for us to move further and for us to have access to the American dream, not for it to be taken from us and pushed even further out of our reach and our reality that is only offered to others. It is discriminatory actions. It is discriminatory policy, practice, whether they want to admit it to us or not. And it's our responsibility to do something about it. And until we do, nothing will not change, because we cannot put our change, depend on our change to be in the hands of someone else that makes no change, that ignorantly ignores realities, truthfulness, rights of others every day, just simply because they are going to jump on a bandwagon of what is relative to them, what they know best, what they believe, their perceptions, their own morale, their own behavior, and their own barriers of hindrance, and how they participate together. You know, often they like for people to believe that the word conspiracy these days are only crazy people use those words. But when the law uses the words, they use the word to lock up more than one person that has to do or is tied into a crime or criminal act, even if that person didn't really partake in that act. Well, then that conspiracy point applies to everyone who is acting in a conspirative manner. We need a system that does not play games with words, does not play with our intellect, and does not expect us to be any stupid, does not expect us to just listen to it, that in fact expects us to challenge it, to do the right thing, to understand and be competent in its own position. Because sometimes even those people need a reminder of, in fact, what they are supposed to be doing. And sometimes they are so focused on the offense of it that they aren't focused on the resolve of it for the person that is actually there for them to serve. And so then they create such horrible circumstances that they like to trickle down to it being a mistake or an error, but they justify it. They cover it up, and they still work together to extort from you, to take from your household, take from you. And anyway, most dollars that you get into your household each month is going to go back into corporations that do not care about you, that are not thinking of your better interests, that are not concerned about you and your future or you and your children's. They are just concerned about funneling money from your household, and each household, and as many households as they can, into their corporation. And then they're so greedy that they don't stop there. They figure out then, okay, well, how can we offset other fees of our business and the risk that we're deciding to take with our business ventures onto consumers? But there is no entity, no agency that is protecting consumers from those types of actions, policies, fees, and all sorts of things that they offset onto people. As a business owner, I know that most business expenses are going to be offset to me, and that is a risk of being a business owner. And I can't go crying to my federal government or anyone else to beg for money. They are too busy helping big corporations, from which that should not be happening. We do not need to put money into corporations. They need to find creative ways to make money for their corporations to strive, even in economic hard times. We need our federal government to fund us, the American people, because we are the ones that are constantly paying into the system, not even by choice. Rich people get to waste lots of money and get to spend money on all sorts of things, and they get all sorts of breaks. But in fact, they can afford to pay the bigger share. They can afford not to get the assistance that poor people, underprivileged people cannot afford to be denied, deprived resources, education, medical treatment, and things that are necessary in this time. We have a system almost designed to make people believe that we are living back in time, but believe that we have came up further. Let's deal with the truth. It is time to have a communication. It is time to talk about a treaty for the brown and black American that goes across nations, to each country for us, that speaks and communicates on behalf of us, that interprets things our way, that can communicate with such an efficacy that we can find resolve. Because as long as we have other people that do not understand us, other people that cannot articulate our experiences, understand them, have the capacity to be able to handle such realistic information, to find a purposeful, meaningful resolve for the better interest of the public, we're going to continue to have a problem, because those people are in fact standing in our way of justice. They're standing in our way of equality, in our way of opportunity. And it is always a situation where they can look to each other and don't even know each other, and know that that person, that stranger in a position, their scribe status, is going to simply back them up and protect them from people that really aren't causing any harm to them, but in fact protect them from the people they are harming. And that is a problem. I don't want to be a part of a system or paying into a system that does not want to do anything for me. I believe it should be a separate pot, so that I can be paying into a system that actually is going to work to put that dollar back into my country, into my community, the nation that I belong to, for my better, for my progress. I am asking America to stand like you've never stood before. It doesn't have to be out there in a whole bunch of groups where, white people spray you with water hoses and taser, or whatever these people do to you, because they don't want you to talk. They want to restrict your freedom of speech, but they want to be able to say everything they want to say. All I say is a new way of protest. Join me, Zelina.